Hey, well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee. As you can see, we had an action-packed day, and we are actually we're moving on to our sports update with Neil Villapiano. Neil, welcome.
Morning, Keith. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. You know what? Action-packed weekend. I think some of the things you talked about on your MVP show on Saturday came to fruition.
Yep.
So I guess let's start off with college ball. With some of the outcomes of the games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the predictions I had were pretty much on path. The one I was most surprised about, though, was probably Temple. I didn't expect them to come out and blow out Navy the way they did. Obviously, with the fact that Navy's starting quarterback got hurt and left the game, and actually was shown later on in the game to be on crutches, was pretty disappointing. But it's going to be tough for Navy this upcoming week when they take on Army in one of the more anticipated games of the season.
Yeah, now he broke his leg, didn't he?
He did. He did break his leg.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Now I know Penn State won, correct?
That's correct.
Now, Ian, we were talking a little bit before we started, but on Saturday when you were talking, I was saying I was running the show at the time, so I
Right.
really wasn't listening to what you're saying, but I kind of caught the bits and pieces of it. And
Mhm.
so Penn State wins, right?
Yep.
They have a great record. It's been a long time since they've had a good record, and
Yeah.
and now they're probably going to go to a cheesy bowl game, correct?
No, actually, they're automatically in the Rose Bowl this year.
Okay, so they're in the Rose
Yeah.
Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, because the way the Rose Bowl is set up is the Big Ten conference winner versus the Pac-12 conference winner. So
Gotcha.
they put Penn State in that in case they didn't make the college football playoff.
Ah, got it. But
Yeah.
you know what? The bowl thing, I know that obviously some of the bigger schools that have more of a variety of students to choose from. I mean,
Mhm.
for their sports programs. I mean, but I still think they need to do something with the divisions and how they should. It should be a playoff, traditional playoff. I think.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at both Division Two and Division Three of college football, they have that type of playoff. But basically, I hope that eventually they move the college football playoff from 4 teams to 8, because then we wouldn't really having these controversial things. I mean, if you watched the Selection Sunday yesterday, what you noticed was that you had, Penn State had every right to be in the Final Four, and instead for the Big Ten representative, they put Ohio State. Granted, they have one less loss than Penn State, but the problem was that Penn State had beat Ohio State early on in the season, and then and Penn State also won the Big Ten title game. So, I was very frustrated with the way it was decided yesterday, and I'm hoping that eventually they move this to 8 teams, because then I think a lot more things would be fair.
What do you mean 8 teams? Like 8 teams at the end of the season go? You mean?
Yeah, like the first 8 teams in the rankings would go.
That would be interesting. And
Mhm.
then they would play, but you would still have to play. What you mean within the conference, their conferences, or
No, I would say
overall?
they would go head to head with the other teams. The 1 seed would play the 8, the 2 would play the 7, the 3 would play the 6. Kind of like that.
Yeah, but how would you do that for some of the huge schools that you play?
Well, I think the thing is that when it comes to talking about your conferences, I think the problem is that they're trying to make it very even on both sides. That's the problem with the Big Ten. They constantly criticize the fact that there are not as many good teams in the West Division that there are in the East, and that's the biggest thing that they're trying to do. As you can see, they're trying to move teams from different conferences into their own in order to make it more exciting and more fair.
Right, right. I don't know. I think they definitely need to do something. I just I think everybody looks for the bowl games and everything, but
Mhm.
they're just kind of getting worn out, and they just need to put a different scheme into place. You know.
Absolutely, I think that would make it a lot easier.
So what are some other college games that you were predicting?
Well, obviously, we talked about Navy and Penn State. Alabama, Alabama was able to win. They beat Florida. And to be honest with you, I was a little surprised that Alabama was dominant throughout most of the game. I was talking about how Alabama had been known throughout most of the season of struggling for the first couple of quarters, and then you go into the third or fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they are moving along and they are rolling. But the tide definitely was rolling on Saturday, and they really were able to come away with a blowout victory over Florida, and they made it very easy for them to get into the Final Four, as finishing as the number one seed in in the college football playoffs. So basically, they played very well. There were, ACC championship game with Clemson. It was very close for most of the game. Virginia Tech put up a really good fight. They were very competitive. And for a while there, I definitely thought that they had a shot to maybe tie Clemson and maybe possibly steal a win, which would have put a lot of craziness into the college football playoff decision yesterday. So we had some good games, but for the most part, I think I kind of got them down pat. But in college football, anything can happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So moving on to the NFL, there was wow. I'll tell you what, for being an Eagles fan, you know what? I a realistic Eagles fan, I'll say, because I didn't expect them to do anything. I think it was a learning process this year, kind of getting to know the team. So for those other folks out there that are beating them up right about now, you know what? If you thought that they were going to do anything this year, you're absolutely crazy, crazy. What are your thoughts?
The biggest thing for me is that normally I don't really expect the team to do well if they're trying to start over and do a rebuild, especially with a rookie quarterback. For a couple weeks, I thought it was very impressive the way the Eagles were winning games and seeming to be doing it methodically. And Carson Wentz looked really good, but now I feel like he's finally getting into that learning process of having not so much success and looking to try to improve himself in order to get ready for the next couple of years. That's the same thing you would say about Dak Prescott. He hasn't really gotten to that point yet of really getting to the learning process of losing and having frustration. I know that eventually he'll get to that point, but right now he's probably enjoying just constantly winning and having the Cowboys make the playoffs. So right now, it's all about. But to go back to the Eagles, yeah, I don't think a lot of people expect them to do much. I know I didn't, but I'm certain that if they can continue to build this team around Carson Wentz, this team could be really good in the next couple of years.
I agree with you, and you know what? You brought up a great point. I mean, to me, I think people compare Dak and Carson, and quite honestly, they're just hitting their times differently. Wentz is going through it right now. Look, for those Cowboy fans, well, next week I am going to root for the Cowboys because you and Aaron are gonna, or you and Pete are gonna owe us some donkeys cheese sticks. But other than that, I mean, I think he's doing a great job, not taking anything away from him. But Dallas fans might be seriously disappointed because they're going to be in the playoffs this year. They're going to be at a certain level, and then next year, when Dak might go through his his learning process, that's where you really, really people are going to be like, what the heck is going on? Where I think the Eagles next year will be on their upswing now because they've got that year under their belt. So very interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. You just said it's all about getting development into your quarterbacks. That's the biggest thing, to get the learning process. And, eventually Dak will get to that point, but for Cowboys fans and everybody involved, they're just hoping that the success can continue at least for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and let's face it. I mean, Dak is thrown to much better receivers. He has probably MVP running back there, and his offensive line is unbelievable. They're just a good crew. So
yeah, they're all around very, very talented team.
Now, so let's talk about your boys, man. But you know what? I don't pick on Neil because he didn't think that the Giants were going to win, so don't even go there. So I know you said that you were kind of concerned about last night's game, and you'd probably, and I felt the same way. I think the Steelers were just playing better ball than the Giants. What are your thoughts on the game?
I really, throughout, even just before the game started, I really was never confident that the Giants were going to do stuff. And knowing that, when they were down 5, when they gave up a safety to start the game, I said, this is pretty much, that already just showed the Giants are not ready to play this game. And, I know record-wise the Giants look like they're a lot better than the Steelers, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Steelers are a lot better than people want to give them credit for, and I think that they're a better team than the Giants. I'm being very, very honest. And once Eli Manning threw that interception driving down to take the lead, when it was 5-0, I just said that they're not ready to play this game and they're not even going to come close. But their Giants defense really did a good job of keeping their offense in the game as much as possible. But as long as the Giants offense continues to have their problems and somehow not ever be able to find a way to score at least 30 points in one game this year, I don't expect them to win any more games this year. I'm still hoping that they can come out and play well next week against Dallas. But if they play the way they played against Pittsburgh yesterday, they're not going to win any more games this year.
Wow, that's pretty bold. Now
It's me
you,
being honest. I mean, it's just me watching this team and feeling it and knowing that the last couple of years it's been tough with regards to there's always some sort of problem. And I was saying to somebody about this yesterday. If you put the Giants offense and the way they played last year, and you put them with the defense that's playing this year, the Giants' record and the way they play would be a whole lot different.
wow, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, Pete and Aaron are not here. I'm going to give you one more chance to back out of this bet. Now, do you still think the Giants are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys next week?
Yes.
All right, man.
Yes, I'm not. I don't back out of bets. I'm
Okay.
going full with this, and if I lose, I will admit defeat. I will not deny it. I will gladly get you a cheesesteak. There is not. I'm putting all my chips on the table here.
All right. Well, we're gonna order from Donkey. So just bring your money to the set next to the studio next week.
I
So
got you.
so I want to talk a little bit about. I mean, we're NFC East guys, but I want
Right.
to talk about the AFC a little. You know,
Sure.
couple teams. You know, Kansas City. Kansas City keeps finding ways to win.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was pretty crazy. I didn't understand why Atlanta was trying to go for two in that situation. That was very crazy, and it went from bad to worse when he threw an interception. And the
Yeah.
fact that they lost by 1 point, they could have been up by three, and they
Right.
end up losing by one. And Kansas City's one of those teams that they hang around, and they always seem to find a way to come out with the victory.
Yeah, I was. I mean, they're. I'll tell you what. I know that I don't think Jamal Charles, their running back, he came
Hmm.
back. He came back this year. And I don't think he's been like that much of a threat yet. I know he
Hmm.
seems like to be still getting his legs underneath him, but when he's on, they're dangerous, very dangerous.
Right.
Now
And
a better team would probably put their foot on their throat and have kind of knocked them out of that game yesterday, but they did fight back.
yeah, they didn't, and I got to give them a lot of credit for doing that. The way they play, they seem like a team that's just not going to give up, honestly.
Yeah, and then now the next team is the Raiders.
Right. I mean, yesterday they were getting killed by Buffalo, and I knew a lot of people had said that the Bills were going to come away with a victory, and it really was looking like that. But the Raiders, they have just continued to find ways to never give up, and this is something Raiders fans have not been used to seeing for the last 6, 7 years, with their team struggling a lot and not being competitive. But now, at 10-2, tied with the Patriots for the best record in the AFC, you got to give them a lot of credit for the amount of talent that they have on that team and the way they've been playing. And I would definitely put Derek Carr as a not a favorite, but definitely as a candidate for the MVP, because 6 times this year he has led a drive to go down for the winning score in the fourth quarter or overtime. He has just done a fantastic job this year, and I think he rightfully deserves to get a chance to possibly win the MVP.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. So and then what was the other team that I was? You know what? We'll jump back to the NFC. The Seattle Seahawks.
Hmm.
Okay, you know what? I'm telling you, they're the sleeper team in the playoffs this year. If they get to the playoffs, are they?
Yeah, I
Gonna,
totally agree with you, because I was talking to Aaron a couple days ago about this, and we were both saying the biggest reason that the Seahawks are a sleeper pick, and a lot of people say they could possibly do, is because they have so much experience. It's not that long ago that they won the Super Bowl and then they lost it the next year. It's not that long ago. They still have the core group of guys in the team. The biggest hole, obviously, is running back, with not having Marshawn Lynch back there. But they're
yeah,
still a very dominant team. They put up 40 points last night against the Carolina Panthers. They absolutely shut down Cam Newton. And I think that they really are a team that can come out and surprise people in the playoffs.
yeah. I mean, and now look. I mean, Carolina's not a team that's to reckon with. I mean, they're this year, but
Right.
I think definitely Seattle. I think because they're not expected to do anything. I mean, I think once you win the Super Bowl, you always have that thing on you, kind of that follows you around. That if you don't get back to it next year, the following year, that people expect. I think now they're playing with confidence. They're playing relaxed, and I definitely think that they're going to be the sleeper for the Super Bowl. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
what else we got, Neil?
The only thing else I got is that I gotta give my shout out to Tom Brady. Yesterday, with his
Oh
201st
my
victory,
God.
he is now the winningest quarterback in the history of this league. He passed Peyton Manning for most wins in a career. So a big shout out to him. And I just I gotta tell you, I know the Patriots. A lot of people say they're still a big favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year, but now I think that without Rob Gronkowski, knowing that he's going to be on injured reserve for the rest of the season, I think the Raiders definitely are the favorites in the AFC.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think that even though Tom Brady has done this before, he's been in this situation, I just think that big of a hole with Rob Gronkowski being out is going to make it a little bit harder for Tom Brady to do his thing. But I'll give him a lot of credit if he can still lead that team to the Super Bowl this year.
Well, our buddy Pete's going to be like, rah rah, I'm surprised he didn't say, hey, I want to come in on the morning show this morning to talk about that. So
Yeah, right, absolutely.
I'm sure we'll hear all of it on Saturday. But
Yeah, definitely.
so we got to wrap up the sports update. Neil, I will be talking to you on Thursday.
Absolutely. Thank you as always for having me.
All right, guys, we're going to be right back after this commercial break. Neil, take care, buddy. I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, you too.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be.